In today's video, I wanted to showcase a listing video that I found on the Real Estate Videography Facebook group. Overarchingly, it was done pretty darn well, but there were some key things about it that I thought would help if we watched the video together and then I paused and gave you my feedback and kind of a whole breakdown of this video. And if you like specific things about them, I'm hoping that this video will give you a good explanation of, hey, this is how they did that, this is how they did that, this is what they did wrong, this is how they could have done it better, and here's how you can do it in your specific videos. So let's watch through it together, and then hopefully you can glean some good information from this to apply to your real estate videos. So let's jump in. Nice aerial shot of the golf course, starting off strong, of the house. So if you like these clips, how they do them, where you're flying a drone and it's zooming out, they're literally just flying the drone in an arc, and then in Final Cut Pro or whatever editing software you use, you can add a keyframe, so you'll zoom into your start point of where you want to be zooming out from. So let's say 100% is right there. So then you'll zoom in closer to, probably, what is that, 150%, 170%. And then you can add a keyframe, and then you'll play the video until you're at the most zoomed out point that you want to be, and then you'll zoom back out to 100%. You'll add another keyframe, and then that will give you a nice, as you're rotating, it'll add another movement into there. You'll see that they do that a lot in this listing video. They add the zoom ins or the zoom outs after the fact, and that does a really good job. It does some heavy lifting to make the property video stand out as a little bit more professional, which is pretty cool. Intro with the oh, it's weird, they like, so if you see these lines up top and this, it looks like they're either using an anamorphic lens or they're using an anamorphic effect, because anamorphic lenses are structured a little bit differently, and they get these big light rays on the side. So if you want big light rays like these on the top, then either use an anamorphic lens, or I'm sure there's an effect that you can do. But this is a cool shot. This was shot in manual focus. All your property videos should be shot in manual focus, because if it's an autofocus, it might be trying to focus on this. I guess it's a pine. I'm guessing it's a pine tree right here or right here. So you want to make sure that the focus is on your subject, which is in the back of the shot. Manual focus is just going to be the way to do it. That's a nice shot right there. So that's the same thing that I was talking about, is, they were just doing a wide shot right there at probably, I want to say 14 millimeters, just facing straight up and then rotating the gimbal. And then after the fact, they started in at probably 130%. They added a keyframe, and then they played the video, and then got to their out point, added another keyframe, and zoomed out. And then that's how you get that nice linear zoom out effect. Nice lifestyle video showcasing the property with the nice G-Wagon popping up. Cool top-down shot. Ooh. So if you're going to do a shot like this, do it right to where, they park right there. Maybe like right there. So they're in the direct center of the house, whereas she parks just over the line, which, whatever. That was a cool shot. Getting out, showing awe at the house from inside. That's cool. Quick little showcase. So the main reason why I wanted to show this property video to you is to be aware of your gear's limitations. This, I'm guessing, I could be wrong, I don't know what it was shot with, but I'm guessing it was an 8-bit color depth camera, something like a Sony a7 III. It's going to be hard to kind of explain to you why I know that, because you might look at this and be like, oh, it looks good, but to me, the white balance is completely off. I'm guessing that they shot this with a higher Kelvin temperature, so it was a little bit more orange, and then they tried to color correct after the fact, and you'll see that in a lot of clips in this video, is that the color just looks a little bit off. If they were using a 10-bit color depth camera, or maybe they were using an A7S III, but their SD card wasn't high enough to shoot the best, 422 10-bit color depth or whatever. So get the white balance as close as possible on site. You can leave it on auto white balance, but then you can map one of your buttons to do like an auto white balance toggle hold. So you can lock in your white balance, like you can set your white balance so you can see it looks really good. To avoid it moving into a different white balance mid shot, because that's super unprofessional. You can click that button to toggle hold the white balance, but you'll see throughout this video the colors weren't quite right, and then they tried to correct it after the fact. But as far as this clip structurally, it looks pretty nice. You know, you're really low to the ground, facing up, showing the staircase on the left and the doorway on the right. Kind of gives a good establishing shot of the location. Yep, nice. I mean, when you're doing these types of properties, go the extra mile. Get rid of the Purell. It's not a Purell advertisement. It's a house advertisement, and that's the first thing that my eyes go to see. This is a cool shot. You've got, you know, obviously in manual focus, and they're focused on this faucet in the background. You got the blurry little overhang right here, the blurry little, you know, tchotchkes right here. It's structurally a good shot where you're just panning left and right. But, like, get rid of the, you know, just shove it in one of the cupboards, the paper towels, the Purell, the soap, all that stuff. So moving to that. Okay, yeah, that gives a good explanation of what I'm talking about. You see the color difference in these two shots? So if you're going to color grade, do it correctly. So in Final Cut Pro, you can do Option Command B to bring up your white balance eyedropper tool, and then you select just one of the white areas. But you want to get your whites as close as possible, but in like these three shots where this one, and this one's green, this one's purple, and this one's like too dark. I mean, the white balance is okay in this one, but it's just overarching a little bit too dark, whereas these two are both really bright. Structurally, the shots, pretty much all of the shots in this listing video are really, really great, but you can tell that this person really struggles with white balance correction or even getting accurate white balance on site between clips. So that is something that your clients will notice, is like, oh wow, this looks so beautiful, but like, oh, the color's off here. The number one complaint that I've gotten continually when I wasn't able to color grade is like, hey, can we fix this shot? The colors aren't quite right, blah, blah, blah. So if you can do that and do it well, you'll be way ahead of the game. So they master, like they do really smooth, good shots, but I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with good color grading too. I mean, it's got to be consistent across the board, and right here, I mean, these are just totally different colors. So you got to watch that. And if you're wondering how they did that, because you can see like a little bump right here, right there, where it's, you know, he's filming left and then moving the camera up and then moving backwards, and he juddered right there. It's not as visible because number one, he probably couldn't, or they probably couldn't stabilize this shot very well because it's a very complex motion, or maybe that's where that wobble came from. It's hard to tell. But the way that you can smooth it out a little bit is adding motion blur after the fact. So if you crank up the motion blur, it'll smooth out a little bit of those visual cues of it being a little jittery. That's nice. I like those kind of shots where, you know, you're rotating the camera as you're pushing back, showcasing her using or moving the flowers in the kitchen. That's a nice shot. But see, the main problem here is every single shot looks different. This is green. This is, you know, kind of purpley pink, and it's the same exact room. So you really need to watch your white balance. Also, as far as focal lengths go, if you're curious about that, you know, I talk about a lot of the property videos. You want to do a wide establishing shot and then a detail, or wide, detail, wide. So this kind of follows that. So this is done something with, like, I'm going to guess a 14 millimeter, because 16 millimeters I think would be a little bit more narrow. And then so it's a wide shot and then a detail shot. This was probably done with a 50 millimeter, like all the way back, or maybe a 35 millimeter, or maybe even a 24 zoomed in a little bit more to give more detail. The 50, and then two wide shots showing the area. I mean, also what I noticed in this place is a lot of the lights were inconsistent. So he had all the lights on and then some lights were off. Either go all lights on or all lights off. So like, this is a really nice house, and I'd imagine for the area this was probably a pretty expensive home. So you have to video accordingly. Like, you have to set up the property, you have to make sure the lights are on. There's just some attention to detail things here that I don't that I think were missed, and the white balance is just all over the place. I mean, structurally, it's a nice shot, you know, smooth coming in, you know, a little bit of lifestyle shot showing, establishing the room, another wide shot in the primary bathroom. That was nice, you know, showing the entire shower going from top to bottom, bathtub, 50 millimeter shot, 50 millimeter shot, wide shot, wide shot. I like those kind of shots. So when you're going up the stairs and you're kind of arcing the camera left to right. Yeah, see what I mean? So in this one, all the lights are on. Like when he was in the other, like light on, light on, light on, light on. And then he suddenly comes into this bathroom and all the lights are turned off. And, you know, he's even showcasing the chandelier right here. So, I mean, maybe they were thinking like, oh, we want to showcase the cool, you know, how the light's coming in and hitting, like the light's perfect or whatever. But if that's the case, you got to do that across the whole listing video. You can't just have magically one room. It's just a continuity thing, and it'll separate you if you're just your detail attention is there. And this listing video could have been really good with just like 10% more effort. It really would have come across as really, really good. But as it stands, it's good. But yeah, and then like multiple shots for this one. So there's also like like this one, he's pushing into the bathroom. So now we're in the bathroom. He's showing a couple of things, showing the shower, but then again, he's pushing into the bathroom. So in this shot, because he's like the next shot, he's leaving the bathroom, I would reverse this clip. Like you could film it pushing forward, totally fine, but then you want to reverse out to show like, hey, now we're leaving this room. And especially since he did a zoom transition, I get why he didn't want to do the pulling out. But then he could also, like, I just wouldn't have done a zoom transition right there because it's not necessary. All these fancy things, you don't just do them for fancy's sake. You do them because they make sense for the specific property and the specific linear progression that the story or the property is following. First we enter the house, then we go into the living room, then the kitchen, and then the adjacent rooms, and the mud room, and the laundry room, and the bathroom, and the primary, all this stuff. It has to make sense and follow a specific thing, but to me, he probably did reverse this clip, and then he was like, oh, but I want to put a zoom transition right there. But if one clip was moving out and then it's trying to zoom transition to one moving forward, it would look weird. So they probably just decided to like, oh, we'll just push in. But if you're leaving the bathroom, if you're leaving the thing, then, I mean, number one, I wouldn't have even had this clip in there to begin with because it's the same exact clip as this one, just at a slightly different angle. So unnecessary clip. Again, light off, like all of a sudden all the lights are off. There's something. That's a nice shot. Like you can have door jams and stuff in your shots, no big deal. If it, he might have even been shooting with something like a 12 millimeter. Nice. Again, light. Like some of the lights are on, some of the lights are off. Like these lights are on, but the center one is off. And I get it if like some of the lights don't work, then you're kind of SOL. But you got to do the best that you possibly can. And I'm guessing he could have just pulled one of these and turned that center light on. So go for consistency. That's nice. Yeah, turn on the shower head. That's cool. I love the Spider-Man right here. My son would go nuts for that. These are killer. So this clip right here, we can watch it all the way through. Those are nice. All these detail shots, I love adding them. They're done with, this one was a wide angle lens just to show the light hitting that really cool tile. I think they probably could have mopped the tile first because it's hella dusty. But that's really cool, kind of arcing the camera to the side. I did a shot like this of a grand piano that was in a luxury property that I just did, and that was the only clip that they wanted me to remove because it was not pertinent to the property. The only time you should add a detail shot of something like this, or it's a grand piano, or it's a piano room, or there's some furniture object that you're zooming in on, it has to come with the property. It has to be sold with the property. If it's not being sold with the property, it does not go in the video. You could do an establishing shot like this to show the room, but all the detail shots of the piano, if the piano's not, obviously I don't know if they're selling the piano with the house, but if it's not, then it doesn't go in the video. All right, fine. fine. Again, kind of arcing, showing that the, how beautiful the light is hitting the wood floor inside. That's fine. 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 Yeah, so it's wide, detail, detail, detail. He's doing a little bit too many detail shots. Wide shot. This gives another good example of what I was talking about. So I think he is using an A7 III because this looks eerily similar to what the problems that I used to face. Too dark. He didn't want a lot of noise. He focused on the brightest part and then just kind of left the darkest point to go, but then he didn't nail the white balance. So then he tried to do an eyedropper tool, and then it kind of left this weird cream off coloring, whereas I'm sure that this is supposed to be more tan, just following the colors right here and then the white. So really just watch your white balance. Take the extra time, lock in your white balance on site so that you have to do as minimal fixes as possible in post, especially if you have an 8-bit color depth camera. If you have a 10-bit color depth camera, you're shooting with a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera where it shoots raw, you don't need to worry about white balance so much. Obviously, you want to get it as close as possible to minimize time after the fact, but if you're shooting with an 8-bit color depth camera, you're just shooting yourself in the foot if you don't get white balance accurate on site, I should say. Cool. It's dark, yeah. Move the Purell and stuff, man. And again, like, this light was off too. Like, this seems like a supremely dark basement with just these two, below ground windows letting in some light, and then these two lights doing the heavy lifting, and then it looks like one right here. Having this light on right here would have lifted the whole room. So just attention to detail. There's another one of those zoom shots where it's just he films it wide and then zooms in after the fact with the keyframes that I was talking about. Nice zoom, or speed ramp, I should say. Nice drone shot, nice detail shot of the backyard. Showing the lifestyle of the property. Yep, absolutely. Nice putt. And showing the backyard in its entirety as a establishing shot, showing the entire property, and then zooming out to the end where we started. Nice. The exterior shots were super great. I mean, the whole thing of this specific property video, it was done so well structurally, and then it just kind of fell apart with the colors, and it was mainly the exposure, and the white balance just was pretty off. So I mean, the colors between the different clips that he did, but again, the variation that you're going to do, if you start wide and then you do a couple details and another wide and a couple details, it can really set you apart. And instead of just doing linear, like how this is filmed, you see the paintings are horizontal, these are completely vertical. Like, you don't have to do that for every single shot in your property video. You can do the turns, you can do the, you're shooting from the ground and facing upwards. Video is a whole lot more forgiving than photos are, and there's a little bit more room for creativity to really, have the retention factor. I think overall he did a really good job with this video. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. But the color grading and the exposure, that's what is the thing he needs to work on next. But overall, really, really good. So hopefully you were able to get some amount of useful information from this property video and what it did right and what it did wrong. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or things you'd like to add, maybe something that you didn't like about the video, something you did like about this property video, leave it in the comments down below. There's all kinds of stuff going on. I'm going to be starting the long form, so like hour-long videos of me just talking about specific subjects. So if you have an idea of what you want to have covered in the next long form video, post it in the comments below. It'd be super useful. Also, the Discord community, it's got like 65 people in there right now. There's people always talking, sharing photos, sharing videos, sharing business advice, marketing help, all that stuff. There's going to be a link to join the Discord in the description below. Totally free to join. It's a completely open community. Don't be an asshole. Join it. Have fun. See you in the next one. Goodbye.